This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, so we were already talking about this prior to starting the podcast, but I thought we'd just like jump in from the beginning, of this podcast. But WWDC happened this week, Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple, and they're showing off like new software updates. You're saying like that's the primary focus of this one?
Yeah, Worldwide Developers Conference. Normally everything is about just software and giving those tools to help the developers.
Right, so it's like we're not looking at like apps here. This is what I thought. I thought we were going to see like a bunch of apps that were coming out or like hardware stuff. Like I thought it was kind of like the presentations that they do every year. Like, oh, this is the new iPhone or like whatever.
So this time around, I think we've always had this conversation, but this June time it's just about the software.
Okay, yeah.
And
like the iOS update, like what
like iOS
like,
updates, what's new to come in that, and giving like helpful tools to developers. It's a 5-day event.
So during the WWDC before, is that where they showed like Mojave off and like all the and then it's like, oh look, if you go to the left of the screen, you could see more updates and like it's kind of like that. Is that what this thing is?
It's about software. It's all the new software.
But remember, like with when that first thing came out, where if you go more towards the side of your screen, it'll show you like side updates or something like that. I don't use that feature, but like I remember that being a thing from before. So it's kind of like what your new interface is going to look like.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there were some, I would say some changes with the Mac OS, something like that too. They had like I think desktop presentation or something. I forgot what it was called. But like keeping everything organized on one side.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay.
And then just using, instead of having the whole cluster of apps
on the desktop. Yeah, that's one of the things that I feel super archaic about like computers that didn't really change, where you can make your desktop really cluttered. Mm-hmm. Like they haven't figured out the best way to organize everything. Like you do that where you put every app into like a folder or something, and then you just use the was it right swipe or left swipe where you like see all apps and then you just search for the app or something? Like that seems more...
Oh, like for the phone?
Yeah, for the phone.
Yeah, I removed all the apps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas in our like desktops, we all still use the same interface as like Windows 95.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just folders, and you're kind of like, oh, this isn't really advanced. So you're saying that from this...
No, I think no, I'm talking about like having your windows all open, but keeping an organized formation. It's hard to explain without actually seeing it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so with Apple...
and I think like iPad was very much being used as like the second screen. Like,
oh, that's really cool too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seamlessly. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's through the M1 chips.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were showing that in an old thing where you can have basically multiple screens that are connected without having to have wires, and that's why I was super excited about the M1 chips. Mm-hmm. Right. So now they're showing off more.
They're showing off more. Yeah, more continuity is what they're like.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, see, because before we started the podcast, I was like, oh, is there anything like utilitarian that I'd want to use from this presentation? Although Apple, like, I feel like they have so many presentations. That's why I was confused. I was like, what are they going to present at this WWDC one? Because like throughout the year, they always have like, you know, like the new phone, the new
Well, I would say they have
You know
a
what I mean?
very, I don't know, in my perspective, it's not as much presentations.
Really, you think so?
Yeah.
But they do like 3 or 4.
No, because
per
everything
year.
is specific, right? So we don't have anything since, I would say, I don't even remember when the last one was. Was it November or even October,
Yeah, but that's still pretty recent, like
right?
October. Like,
Of last year. So you're not
Yeah.
having anything until June.
No, but then June, and then they're gonna have another one in October.
And so they have the phone ones in September.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
It's
saying.
normally
it's quite recent.
So one is always for the software, which is what, and so it's all jam packed for the software thing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're doing it for all devices,
Mhm.
and then you have individual releases for those devices, so they have their
own presentations.
their own presentations
But it
of the
feels
new
like-
product. Yeah,
But it feels like there's always like something new happening in Apple, because there's always a like from June to September is only like June, July, August, September, like 4 months.
yeah.
So then within that 4 months, you're going to hear about them again, and then you're going to hear about them again later throughout the year.
So normally the reason it's like 4 months is like you're releasing the beta of these software
Yeah.
updates, so that the developers can work on upgrading their apps for the when the new OS releases in September.
And then that's when they'll present like new devices.
Yeah, so September is where they released it, like the iPhone generally, maybe the watch. Then there's another one for like the iPad and Macs.
During the same time or a separate.
A separate presentation.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It feels
Yeah.
like they're always just continuously running things that we kind of get spoiled by Apple. You know what I'm saying? Think about Windows. When
I always felt like it was,
not a lot,
yeah, I didn't feel like it was a lot.
but comparatively to other devices, like how many giant keynote
Well,
presentations
there's a
do you
lot
have for
more
Windows?
from the other companies too, because they have so much more products that they release.
But does the other companies have like giant?
But I don't follow them, well, like one specific company, right? So it's hard to say. Like Samsung has different kinds of phones, so they always have different presentations for
Throughout
the
the year?
phones. Yeah, so they have like Galaxy Note or Galaxy S, this or whatever. So like for the phones, they have different presentations.
throughout the year.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because they come out at different times.
Okay, but it's not like these giant. But what I'm trying to say is like with Apple, it's like a big event. It's like, oh, it's a WWDC. Like they named it a thing.
Yeah. Well, this is a specifically for developers, right? So this is like a 5-day event thing.
Yeah.
Normally, when
yeah.
it was in person, like they have workshops,
Oh, that's cool.
and then if they have developers have questions and how to like make the app better or something,
They can like
they can help with that.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's the whole point of the whole WWDC is.
But like comparatively to like think about E3 or what was the Consumer Electronics Show? That's like one a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I feel like but the grandioseness of Apple's ones are so big, like those ones, that we're all like anticipating it. So if you give us like 3 a year, that's I'm like, oh, it's like quite often,
Yeah.
Like I guess like yeah, for the
Well, this is
Samsung
I would
ones.
say this is normally their longest one because nothing goes 5 days, right? Like everything's just done in one day, like those presentations in September and October.
But no, for sure. But we're all like holding our breath to watch those.
I would say,
presentations.
yeah, like normally no one really pays attention to this one, the general population,
right,
because it's not for the consumers. This is all for developers, right?
right.
So it's really for the consumer. Normally, you're waiting till September to actually have another presentation from
Well,
Apple that's people
but-
pay attention to.
I feel like even this one for consumers as well. Like they did show off a bunch of stuff that you'd want to use.
Yeah, but it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily consumers won't remember these. Like these are not for them. These are generally for developers and people who like me who likes Apple a lot, right? To see what's coming up next.
But like the
But like for consumers, it's more like the actual product, like the iPhone or like an iPad.
yeah, I see what you're saying because you're actually going to purchase it. But like from a use case scenario, these are interesting because they show you like you can unread a message now, or like you were saying you can change the lock screen. So it's like I feel like it's still
They'll more focus. They'll give a more focus or more consumer-ish one in the September, like a presentation with all that.
Like featuring all of it. This is more like a teaser of what's to come.
Well, it's showing off some of the like how it works, and then I would say like there'll be more other things more specific to consumers in September time.
Like from a purchasing perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, but like I also feel that Apple does a really good job of bridging the high techness of like, because it's a developers conference, but also dumbing it down enough to a consumer level of what you can expect and like look forward to.
Yeah, I mean they did have one product release, so.
Oh, what was the?
Well, actually two, but that's the new MacBook Air with the M2.
Oh yeah, true. And did you look at the power of the M2 yet? Remember you're saying like, oh, is it incremental or is it a big
it's probably
jump?
going out to people to review like this week.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
we'll find out.
Well, they've given their numbers of it is more powerful than M1, but not powerful than M1 Pro or like M1 Max. Yeah. Those are still more powerful.
So it's more like from a specs perspective, it is identifiably more better, but from a user experience perspective, you won't be able to tell the difference.
I'm sure you won't tell the difference.
Yeah, okay. So that's more of, so it's like
these are incremental changes. This is generally what happens with each. Once they've hit that, everything else becomes incremental. You can't
like iterations of its most powerful thing.
Yeah,
you said it's not as powerful as the Pro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, if you don't want to spend the money on the Pro, you can get like a little bit better, but this is more for professional use. Like the M2, if you don't want to spend all the money on the Pro, you can get the M2 if you're still kind of like an architect or something that uses programs that require heavy.
Sure.
heavy lifting.
Yeah. But I think those people in the professional field will probably go for the M1 Pro or Max.
But how much is the Pro and Max?
But those are more in the professional.
But still,
sphere,
it's like
right?
It's like how much are we talking? Like if it's,
it all depends on your like software that you're using.
But I mean, like price wise, like is it super expensive? Or are we talking like $5,000?
I'm saying like the M2 is not available on all your devices. It's just for the MacBook Air.
I'm talking about the Pro, the M1 Pro.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you said that's the most powerful one, right?
Or M1 Max, I think, right?
Oh, M1 Max. Like, how much are we looking at for
price-wise?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's expensive. I don't know that.
Like with 10 Gs?
No.
Oh, okay, so it's not that bad. All right.
Yeah, no, we're not looking at that.
Remember the cheese grater?
I think it was, wasn't it like, I think it was at least 5,000 to get a full maxed out one.
Oh, wow. All right.
Like I think it was a laptop one, yeah. MacBook Pro.
Because I'm trying to figure out like where to place these products in terms of the scalability of your business. Like if you're going to do like work at Tesla, okay, sure, you can spend the $5,000 because you need that power. But like if you're a small business, do you need that level of power? No, that's what I mean. Like, like where do these things fit in?
That's why they have a variety of things, right? So based on your usage scenario, So what level do you need it at, right? So that's why they have. That's what they had like last year, M1 Pro, M1 Max. So they had for different power usage consumptions.
That's what I was trying to figure out, like where to fit it. And I was saying like iterations of like your highest level is the Max, and then like, okay, if you don't need that much, you can get the M2 or whatever, which is at a lower price point. Because I mean, how many people are actually utilizing like that level of power? Like,
and it's also like a transition period, so that a lot of the apps still have to be. Or they're getting there. Become more efficient on those chips, like the developers to update their apps.
Right. So you're not like utilizing too much RAM or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
because it's still like their process was still about 2 years to get all their stuff transferred, right? So most of their things have the M1s now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except for the Mac Pro.
Oh, the standalone, not the book. You're talking about Mac Pro.
Yeah, the standalone.
Okay, yeah.
The tower one.
Because I'm thinking about, like I was saying to you before, like I want to get a new MacBook Pro because mine's like pretty laggy, and like the M1 is looking really good, but it's like, is it something that a regular person would use? You know, like I use my computer professionally, but also like I'm not like a freaking cinematic editor. So it's like, do you really need high levels of processing power, you know?
Do you need it?
Like,
Probably
or is
not.
the base
I feel like
level-
that's why I say that's what they're like. Even they're still like you can still buy the M1 MacBook Air. Like they still have that out for purchase
Okay.
as the like technically a cheaper model, right? Compared to the M2.
Do you know comparatively, like, what I have right now, the MacBook Pro? Like, I maxed mine out before, but that was like 2016. So is like even the basic model like even better than what I have now? Like, I'm wondering if you're a person who purchased your laptop like relatively recently, is there any purpose in updating, do you think? Or
You mean with the M1 or just?
yeah, like with a new yeah, with an M1. Yeah, you said
No,
that
I
most
don't
things
think
have
you
an
need.
M1
No,
now.
no, I don't think you need to.
Okay, so you think that the M1 is still just like that's like levels above what most people need?
I think so. Yeah, but there's always. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's only last year that was out.
But when you said like there's a lot of devices utilizing the M1 now, is it like standard? Is it going to become standard? Like, should we wait? Is the question. Like, if you're looking to buy a laptop right now, should you purchase like the best one, like the M1?
I think it just
whatever,
depends on what
or-
you're using it for, right? If you're just a person that just does emails and
then why even get a laptop at that point? Just get an iPad. Like, if you're talking about a very basic person, like my sister,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm just going to write emails and notes to myself. I'm like, you don't need a laptop, just get an iPad.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is, like, if you want a laptop, like, do you foresee like a transitionary period where it's like we're about to get rid of all the old ones and everything's going to get M1s? Like, is M1 going to become standard?
M1. No, like that is the standard. What do you,
Oh, okay,
I don't
yeah,
understand
okay, so
what you
everything
mean.
has an M1 now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, except for
Oh.
the Mac Pro is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Yeah,
Everything
yeah, yeah.
has the M1 now.
So then you don't even have to make a choice. Just like buy
Yeah,
a new laptop.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the M1 power is what allows you to utilize iPads as additional screens. So you could have like multiple screens
Yeah.
without having. Okay, so it's like a no-brainer. You should just pick up a new laptop if you have an old school one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for
It's
me to
just now that
consider.
because they make the whole thing of the computer now, right? The chips included, which is the M1. Like they don't have to use Intel, right?
Right. No,
So
because-
they can
'cause-
design their laptops however they want now.
Right. So the ecosystem's fully complete, and they're just like maximizing its potential.
Yeah.
So like, the reason why I asked you that is because M1 just got recently announced. So like,
Yeah.
to fathom that it's standard on everything now,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
it wasn't
oh,
recently. It was 2 years back now.
Oh wow, yeah, just for COVID,
Yeah.
the times.
I think it was like M1, and then they showed off the M1 Pro, then the M1 Max. Nobody was expecting the M1 Max, so
Okay, but that's like the highest end.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
really need
yeah,
that. Wow, could you imagine?
it's the highest, but it's still not enough to put into the Mac Pro, right? Like their highest model
Right.
of product. Yeah.
If you look at the utility of an Apple device now, especially now that everyone has the M1 chip, which is like that super powerful chip that allows you to like drag and drop from one device to another without a wire, and like it's seamless, right? Basically what you're looking at with Minority Report, right? And 2 years ago when they announced it, I was so stoked. I was like, oh my God, I want this M1 chip. But now that you're saying it's standard in everything, how does another company compete with Apple at this point? Like, every single device is integrated that you can drag and drop between iPads, laptops, desktops. It's like, phones, you know, like, what are we doing here? Like, it's almost like you're blowing out the competition where we don't even need a Windows. Like, any other device seems silly. No, really think about that. Like, yeah, I saw you like smirk when I said that, but I'm like, I'm not an Apple fanboy. I'm an Apple fanboy because I like the utility.
Yeah.
But if you show me a better product, I'll go for that better product.
Yeah.
But how do you compete with something like that? That everything is integrated? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like you always talk about that. Even the headphones. The
Oh, my God.
the connectivity of it all.
Okay, so Okay, so when I was searching for new wireless earphones, I was like I was watching all the reviews, and then you were like, oh, you should just get like the AirPods Pro. And I was like, oh, but what's the difference between like an AirPod Pro? Okay, noise canceling. And I was like, okay, let me just bite the bullet, get AirPods Pro. Best decision ever. Like being able to go from noise canceling to open back, basically you can hear the outside world. Amazing. And the connectivity, because I had a wireless device before, but it was having a hard time reading it because it wasn't an iPhone. It wasn't a Apple product. But like switching between my laptop to my phone is just a simple click. You know, and that's just like you can't even fathom that level of convenience compared to something else. Like why would you even, it seems archaic to buy something else. You're just gonna give yourself a hard time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how does a company compete? Like I'm actually like wondering that.
Well, that's why they are the top company.
I know, right? But is it like you're so good you're gonna blow out all the other competition? Like do you envision, like I envision a world where Mac is the standard for everything. Like maybe not like software developers like who are doing AI robots. You need like Linux or something, you know, you need something very specific. But as a regular consumer, I've been saying this for a while. If you don't buy into the ecosystem of Apple, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. As long as people know about the ecosystem, I think that's the main thing. If you don't know that they have this level of an ecosystem, then
you're right.
You don't know, right? You're going to buy different products.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. So you're saying their marketing is lacking?
No, I think their marketing, well, they have one of the biggest marketing teams. So I think that they do a good job, but it's to reach everybody, it's always going to be, people have to be really into tech to really know these things.
Yeah, because usually a person's going to walk in like, I just need a computer.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even, but it's like even that question, I just need a computer. And you're like, oh, what are you going to do on the computer? You know, like, oh, I'm just going to do email, a little bit of banking, and then take some photos or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, so do you need a computer? Like that, remember that video? I used that video on my family when they wanted to buy a new computer. the like, what is a laptop? Remember that? And there is like it's an old video.
It's an old video, yeah.
But
that was a few years ago, and I would say it's more relevant today.
Yeah, and they were utilizing iPads in that thing, and the whole video is about like, what is a laptop? Because we're moving towards just a single screen device. Like you don't even need, the archaic old school style of, you know, something that you fold with a keyboard attached. You can get a wireless keyboard.
Yeah.
We could quickly head towards the Minority Report future. You know, all because of Apple.
Yeah. And then they're doing more and more, like for the iPhone. It's like in certain states, you can have your IDs on your phone.
Oh, like our vaccine passports. We have on our phone as well.
And like even, so you know how certain vendors have like the Square thing to pay? It's
Square.
Yeah. So you can use an iPhone in an iPhone. You don't need a Square. Like,
oh, that's cool. Wow.
So like that company's gone.
See, like the integration level, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
This episode should be called Apple's Gonna Rule the World. Like what's going on?
That's kind of what they're doing. So.
And then you were hinting at the fact that they might be like releasing a car too. So
well, that's been up there for a long time. But one of their bigger updates to CarPlay, one of the biggest updates that they've done to CarPlay is now taking all over the whole instrument panel of a car.
Yeah.
I feel like the car companies, what I keep hearing is like they're really bad at the software part of it. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
And
you're
then
just making a tech, you're the car, like the physical,
Yeah. So like here's an Apple or a solution from Apple. Like just
maybe we'll take care of the whole cars though. Maybe they won't even make cars. Maybe they'll specialize in software. They don't need to make a hard device.
No, I don't think they need to. I feel like these could be things like in the stepping stones. Like generally, like they do
to a car later on. Yeah.
It's like, let's see how this is working out. Is our instrument panel really good? Or
I also feel like they're watching, Tesla as well, because Tesla, like to become a car company, it's very touch and go with their finances.
Maybe I think maybe they'll probably more focus on the software related.
That's what I think.
I feel like it's really difficult to to start a car business and be actually successful at it.
That's what I mean. So I think
Yeah.
maybe they're focusing on, like, when you showed me the interface of the Apple CarPlay, it's like, if that's just in every car, why do you need to make a car?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just pick your own car, and
Yeah.
then we're
And
still
I mean,
running
they're
your
working
device.
on things like driverless stuff. So if they're building the driverless features,
Yeah.
they can probably like implement them into any kind of car.
All right, question for you. Who do you like better, Apple or Tesla, in terms of a company?
But
Tesla comes with SpaceX.
Tesla comes with SpaceX.
Yeah, like, are Elon Musk or Steve Jobs? Like, who made the bigger impact in the
Well,
world?
I think we answered that question before.
But now Elon is bringing us off-world.
No,
So-
I answered that question before
Oh,
between
alright, yeah.
between Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. I
And-
said Elon Musk.
Yeah, okay. Oh, really? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I think,
As a change to, I would say, as a bigger, making a bigger impact of a change to the world.
okay, I'm going to say Apple, because without Steve Jobs, there'd be no Elon Musk,
Sure. Yeah.
because he paved the way.
Yeah. You could pave the way. I'm saying, like, who's making a bigger impact of changing the world?
But I wonder, like, but that's, all right, that is a... Okay,
Like, if we end up getting to Mars, that's all SpaceX.
For sure. But how many of us are going to go? So if you look at the actual trajectory of the world, it's like, yeah, sure, you have a car and you have us going to Mars. Those are amazing feats. But like the ubiquity of an Apple product, like if you actually make CarPlay so good that every car uses CarPlay, it doesn't matter what.
So it depends on how you want to. Yeah, it depends on how you want to look at it. So are you looking at
consumer level.
Yeah. So if you're looking at a consumer level, how impactful something can have on your life than an Apple product,
Yeah.
right? Because
Right, yeah.
anybody can experience that. Anybody
That's what
has
I
the
mean, like-
possibility of purchasing an Apple product. But having an impact on the long-term goal of humanity, that would be SpaceX.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, because
That's what I'm
he's
saying.
getting us to.
So it depends on how you want to, what you're looking at.
Okay, all right. How about this then? Who would you rank better, Steve Jobs or Elon Musk?
It depends when you say better. Better
No,
is
but like in your own perspective, I don't mean like what they're doing for humanity. Like, who do you idolize more?
I think I respect Steve Jobs more.
I would say that too. I think so. Yeah, I agree with you. Even though like Elon Musk is super influential, you know, he changes the culture.
Yeah. He's still very young in a way.
He's very young, but it's like I feel like his reach isn't as far as
Well,
Steve Jobs.
Yes. See, I think you can see that like there's a lot of hate or resentment towards billionaires like Elon Musk, right? So,
right.
so as a societal thing, it's not it's not good to be in that. Like to be viewed like that, that means you're not really having a good impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. While Steve Jobs kept a very like reserved life.
Yeah,
So you don't know
exactly.
his
Yeah.
personal stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he had a
Until
huge
the movie
impact
came
on
out.
people's lives with his products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that has a lot to do with, you know, his story of becoming like a hippie
Mm-hmm.
and like him studying Zen and like all this stuff. Like
Yeah, and going
simplicity.
into like being, you know, at an early age, like Hare Krishna, like
Yeah,
his
exactly.
story is much more.
It's more I'd say more, even though even though Elon Musk is all about, you know, furthering it's sort of like this, where where Elon Musk is like, I want to help further humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You're like announcing it.
Yeah.
But whereas Steve Jobs is like, I don't need to tell you, I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like how you found out later that Steve Jobs donated so much money to foundations, right? But he never told anyone
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't
because he
tell
wanted to be
anyone.
anonymous. It
Yeah.
only came out when he died.
Yeah.
It's like I think that's just like the true spiritual path of like, I don't need to tell you, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Because I respect both people because they're very great. They're very admirable in their fields.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about Steve Jobs that's like supernatural.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, you gave us you gave us the solution
Mm-hmm.
to unity. Like, I don't mean like from a
Yeah.
from a spiritual perspective, like unity, like this product is so essential to our lives.
Mm-hmm.
iPhones are number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like who doesn't have an iPhone? You know,
Well,
there wouldn't be social media without an iPhone.
yeah. I think.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
remember.
crazy.
I remember when the first phone came out. Right, when the first iPhone came out, the direct the attack was they don't have a keyboard, so no one's gonna like this.
But he knew. He was like, it doesn't.
Or a
like,
physical keyboard. Sorry, they don't have a physical keyboard. That's what BlackBerry was saying.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But he's like, it takes like almost like a deity to foresee that level of like total connectivity. You know, I'm just like bewildered by how now they're even with this M1 chip able to integrate all products together. Like, wow, what are you doing? And then like with the Apple CarPlay, we just deconstruct it. Like, why do you need to build a car when your software's in everything? You know?
Yeah.
And
So
then-
that's a more exactly. That's true too. It's like your CarPlay software is everywhere. That means you're more likely to buy another iPhone.
Exactly.
It keeps you within the ecosystem.
Yeah. The only thing that the only other thing that I find better than Apple but see, all right, this is the thing. I think they just figure out the problem they need to fix over time. So when I was listening to when I was utilizing text, you know, like I'll read something, I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have opened that because I'll forget. So I'll take a screenshot and then like hopefully I'll remember by looking back at my photos like what I have to answer. But WhatsApp had the ability to like mark as unread, so I can go back to it later.
Yeah.
Or emails mark as unread. You know, the fact that they figured, like they perfected it, and now they're doing that for the text devices. It's almost like
iMessages.
iMessages. Yeah. You can like you can unread. You can make them unread. Can you pin them? I think I saw that.
Yeah, you can.
You can pin them, right? So you pin them to the top. So like,
I think you can do that already, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think so.
You can pin text?
Yeah.
Okay. You're checking right now. So like, it's almost like they're learning from the competitors what people really need.
You can pin them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's essential. But if you can't mark them as unread, you still forget that it's there.
Yeah.
So like learning that from, you know, WhatsApp, like I feel like they're just going to get more and more perfect over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
it's a game between all these. I mean, that's this whole part of competition, right?
Yeah, you learn from, but if you have a team and an integrated system. All right, so for example, like Snapchat, right? It was a great idea, you know, like stories, and then Instagram came out with stories, you know. So it's like, why do we need Snapchat now? You know, like but Instagram is so big in what it offers that it can afford to kill out the competition by integrating that into its system. So going back to it, it's like you can't defeat Apple because it'll just figure out how to do better.
But the thing is, all of these devices require Apple, anyways.
That's true too. Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, like Samsung, technically,
you could use Samsung.
Like, come on, really? We'll use a Samsung. It's funny because I say that, but I know a bunch of people who have a Samsung, and I'm just like, why are you doing that to yourself, man? Like, I like to customize my interface. It's like,
or other companies are trying to copy, so they want you to buy all Samsung products. Maybe there's an ecosystem in that way too.
For sure. But it's like
they're learning from Apple. A lot of them are trying to, like Microsoft is trying to do that.
But you have such a first. Oh, it's like first. Oh, I forgot what the exact term is. Like a first competitor advantage or something. Like a first footing advantage. Like you were in the beginning, so like you had all this time to build your brand. You know, it comes down to like a great product, but you also need like an acknowledgeable brand. And they have all those things, so that they can make these slow iteration updates.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna love it more and more over time. So the one I was getting at was Spotify. The thing that I love about Spotify is, but it's gonna be hard to compete with this unless you just outright copy them. You can leave off where it is you were on any device, or you can like jump from, like if I'm listening to a song on my laptop and I'm going to go for a drive, I just press play on my phone and then it reads that I was already listening to that song and it continues from where I left off. Or like it's great for podcasts, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I feel like Apple needs to venture more in that zone, but I'm sure they'll do it over time because like the Apple Music's not that great.
Generally, it's like some areas they focus more on this year, or they focus on something else for next year. So like,
right, okay, that's like a problem we don't need to solve right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think they don't even have a fully working like a website version yet, right? So they're just
For Apple Music.
Yeah,
so
like they're still that's still in the beta phase too. Like you can access it, but it's very rudimentary.
Okay.
Like for the desktop view, but they have like I was using it yesterday. Like they have one, like they're all individual apps, but they have it for the PS5 as well, right? So I listen to that and do my driving. So it's like, but it's not all
integrated. Like
it's not integrated like continuing from controlling the device from the phone for the like the PS5 or something. It's not implemented like that. Maybe eventually.
And I also like for Spotify that music and podcasts and video for podcasts are all within that one app. Like with Apple, you have to go from like Apple Podcasts to Apple Music, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of like.
But that's what they.
Maybe they come up with Apple Media later on. You can watch TV shows, music.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would be so sick.
I can see that happening.
Like Apple Media, right?
Yeah.
Like, because with Spotify, like I'm so impressed. I don't need to leave the interface.
Yeah.
I can go from podcast, like literally watching the video of the podcast, to I'm like, I want to listen to a song. I just change the thing. But you know what's funny though about all that? They're like, yeah, you could be the best like media house Spotify. It doesn't matter because you still need our product to like get it out to most people. So it's like you can let those things go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be exciting to see where it all goes in the future.
Yeah, I mean it's all good competition. So
I'm a firm believer that Apple's going to take over and like they're just going to sprint ahead of all the competition. They're already kind of doing it. They're already pulling away, but just with these advancements, it's like I really don't see competitors coming back unless they band together. You know, like Windows and Samsung, like they're like, oh, let's just take down Apple. You know what I mean? Like if they start partnering up, but that's highly unlikely as well. Yeah. Cool. And anything else about WWDC that you really liked?
I did like the whole lock screen change. They haven't done that in a long time. Or not a long time. They've never done that.
Yeah, because that is pretty annoying. So basically it's like, do you want to explain it?
Like the customization to the lock screen.
Yeah, but like what you can do with it or?
Like you're customizing the way it looks basically. Like kind of like a watch face.
That's cool.
Like in the Apple Watches, you can change the watch face look, right?
Yeah.
The type of time or whatever. So you can do that same kind of thing, and also have like widgets on the lock screen itself.
That's very cool.
So like I don't have to go in to check weather. I can just see it on the screen.
That's cool. Did you know that if you just swipe left though? I didn't notice it was an accident, but if you like swipe left, you can actually get your shortcut widgets. Like here, I'll show you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can add them in there, but like that's an extra line, step of swiping, right? Where the other one is just like if you just tap to turn on the screen, or you're like see it right away.
Yeah.
I don't have to like swipe to do anything additional, I guess.
Yeah. They're just cutting down on an extra step. That's unnecessary.
It's all about that. It's just how to make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah,
even if it's cutting down one step.
Yeah.
Is that's what people want.
Yeah, like simplicity. Everyone just wants, but almost it's so funny because you can hit this point where it's so simple that it's like complicated. So I'll give you an example that's not really related to. It did happen on Apple, but it's like, so my dad was trying to access this website. And like the interface it was like warning. And then he's like, oh, fix this, right? All I had to do was click accept and then I can go to the web page. but it was so simple. He thought it was more complicated than it was. He thought like a virus is attacking. He's like, I don't know what's going on. But then like, you know what I mean? Like as a consumer, you can make things too simple that they don't think that that's the correct move.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there is that danger too. Like you have to. I
think that was that more for like the site is unprotected or something?
Yeah. You've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
And you just hit like, okay.
Yeah. It's you're accepting the permission in a way to like, okay, it's unsafe, but I'm fine. I can go.
But his initial reaction was like, it's going to be something complicated. It's like, no, you just hit okay.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I mean. It's like sometimes it can be so simple. Like, I don't know how else to explain. Or like, my dad was trying to connect his Beats to his phone, and then he's like, "How do I do this? I gotta go to like settings, whatever." I'm like, "No, just open it right next to." And he's like, "No, it's not gonna work."
Yeah.
But as you open it, it's like, "Do you want a pair?" Yes. I think it's like so simple that you don't think it's gonna work like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's where they have us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying that.
But like they do have
detriment.
But that's
right?
what they do. That's what they try to. They have these things in the Apple Store to teach people.
But is there like a point of diminishing returns for simplicity? You know what I mean? Like where you think it's so simple that it couldn't possibly work like this.
Because we've been inundated
with like complexity.
And now that's the issue.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Right? It's like we have to unlearn our complex maneuvers and just like dumb it down.
That's why generally the young people are the ones who are gonna like catch it more quickly. Like
true. Yeah.
Or like something happens accidentally. I was like, oh, I didn't know that I could do.
Yeah, like the swipe thing. That was a total accident. I was like trying to pick up my phone. I was like, wait, what is this? And then I could swipe to the side and see all my widgets.
And that's the thing. They don't teach you everything, but sometimes some things you find.
Or like that video
accident.
where they dragged and dropped the picture from, like you do like a little pinch thing from your phone, and then you do like a release thing on your trackpad. Yeah. And then it's like copy and pasting.
Yeah.
And it looked like magic, but then the actual what do you call those, gesture for copying is pinching.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was like you're just pinching a picture and
that's right. Yeah, you're
dropping
dropping
to another one, but it's really we've tricked you into using the keystrokes.
Yeah.
You know, or the.
But you would know
gestures.
about the gestures if you have a trackpad.
Right. Yeah.
If you didn't have a trackpad, you would not know what gestures are. Right. So.
That's the thing. Like I was in talks with this other company, and they're like, whenever I like do like a talk with a company, like an interview or something, I always ask them like, are you Windows or Apple? And they're always like, oh, as a designer, I know you prefer Apple. And I'm like, people don't understand how essential gestures are for design. Like zooming in and out for like on the trackpad, it's like you just use your two fingers and then like either pull away those two fingers or like pull. It's so hard to explain what a gesture is without actually physically seeing it.
Yeah.
But like Apple doesn't. Sorry, not Apple. Windows doesn't do that kind of stuff. You have to click on enhance zoom, so it wastes more time. I have to go to like File, Window, Zoom, enhance zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Apple had the trackpad for a long time.
Exactly. So they can perfect it.
Before Microsoft started using it.
Yeah.
And it's not even everywhere. I wouldn't like. It's not on because you have a variety of Microsoft like laptop products. So it's not like on.
But even their trackpad, like you're talking about Windows.
Yes.
Yeah, Windows has trackpads, but they don't have gestures. That's the difference.
I think they do now. No.
No, because like maybe the newest ones. I'm
like
not sure.
How far back are you talking about?
I used it like maybe 4 years ago. I was on a Windows. And I was like,
yeah,
this is
so
so
like
trash,
only
bro.
it's like about that time when they started to bring trackpads.
Oh, okay.
Onto Windows.
No, but there are trackpads though. I'm talking about gestures.
No, I mean I'm doing gestures on trackpads.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
they just
like a
copy
Windows
that.
or like a Mac.
That's good then.
Yeah.
Because as a designer, I'm like, this is so difficult to like, not difficult, but like time consuming to do like very basic things, like zoom in and out. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did bring that one. Yeah, because it was many years later.
Oh, okay.
From Apple. Like when I had bought laptop. That's 2008. They had
Gestures.
gestures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Way back then. So
Yeah.
yeah.
They were so ahead of their time. Yeah. Yeah, so no more final thoughts on WWDC.
I like the new MacBook Air with the M2.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Does it look basically the exact same?
No, it doesn't look. It's a redesign.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check it out after.
Yeah, but it's just a MacBook. It's a MacBook Air, right?
You know what I like? When they put out a product and then they're not afraid to walk it back. So like with the MacBook Pros, they took away all the ports.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, and I was like, oh, like I get what you're doing, but that's really annoying because like I have to buy multiple dongles.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back. I was like, oh, perfect. I don't need to buy like excessive things. Did you see that Apple thing where they're in court, or I think they lost the court case where they have to use like USB-C?
That's in the the Europe, EU, but that's like
Yeah.
in the next 3 years. So
I was like, damn, bro. Wow. But that's another way to cut out the competition. If your phone requires only this type of charging, then other people are like if you already own that, you're more likely to just, because you have all these chargers from that, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna buy another one of these. Like, you don't want to switch.
I feel like eventually they were going to switch over because the new iPads all have USB-C.
Oh, okay.
It's just the phones didn't have USB-C.
Oh, that's weird. No, but like whatever.
Yeah,
these are like minuscule things.
Yeah, but these are like over 3-year time span to change. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably would have happened anyways. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about this earlier this week as well. Michio Kaku was on Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I didn't watch the documentary yet. I have it queued up. I was going to watch it. But he was in a documentary talking about aliens. So he's a huge proponent of aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is something. But he doesn't even know Bob Lazar. Like, he doesn't even know the alien lore.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking at it from like
Just
solely his, like Joe
his
Rogan's
physics
like,
perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so Joe Rogan was like, oh, you know Bob Lazar? He's like, who's that person? But I'm like, if you know aliens, like, you know that name, right? And the fact that he doesn't know that, like Bob Lazar, it actually gives more credibility to Michio Kaku, because he's like, oh, he's not an alien fanatic. Like, you're literally looking at this as a scientist, right? And he says it's totally possible that aliens are out there and they're like visiting us. But the interesting thing is, okay, so the first thing he said is like there are 3 types of civilizations. The first one we're about to hit, there's like a stage 0. Stage 1 is you're able to control your own weather and manipulate your environment. We're close to becoming a stage 1. He said in about 100 years we'll be a stage 1. And then stage 2 is, I think, like off-worlding, and stage 3 is like the ultimate one where you're harnessing the power of stars as your energy source. Okay? And he's like, we're thousands of years away from being a type 3 civilization, but in space there is this sun that, I forgot the exact name, but there's a sun that reduces by 20%. They're like watching this star,
right.
stars or suns, that reduces by 20%, and then it comes back to normal. So what he's theorizing is there's a civilization out there that is a type 3 and is pulling their power from that star. That's why it reduces by 20%. And again, this is a friggin' physicist, bro. This isn't, he doesn't even know Bob Lazar. So, like, okay, there's definitely life out there. You know what I mean? Like, if you're catching this, and he's like, that's got to be a civilization doing that, because nothing in nature reduced by 20%. It's like it's being manipulated. He's like actually watching this star being manipulated, right? And then the question is like, how are they coming to visit us, right? So apparently, this is crazy. If you are able to power something enough, you can warp gravity, space gravity. So he said, like, think about it like a carpet, and then you, like, if you roll a ball along a carpet, it takes forever.
Okay.
Right? But if you bend, if you pull the front end of the carpet towards the ball, and then you pull the carpet behind the ball to straighten it out, the ball moved. Like the carpet moved, not the ball. Right?
Okay, yeah.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So either the ball's rolling or you're moving the carpet. So Einstein was able to prove that you can actually do that. We don't have the power to do it.
Yeah.
But if you have enough power to do it, you could actually do that with space.
Yeah.
What the hell, bro? That's crazy, right?
Yeah. I forgot what was it. What's it called?
I don't remember what he said.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that is crazy. And again, a physicist is saying this, not like a weird, fringe alien person. And then the third way, so he's like, they're either doing that, if they have the power to do that, they're like warping through time, or what they're doing is, because Joe Rogan's like, so apparently we're very close to digitizing our consciousness. So you'll actually live forever on data. Right? Like what was that show? It was called like Upload?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is actually about to like come to life. They're about to like break through that. So what he's saying is what these aliens could actually be doing is you're downloading your consciousness to a thing and then sending it through light to another thing, and then your consciousness travels that way. It's not your body, it's your consciousness that's traveling throughout space.
Interesting.
And this could be what the aliens are doing. That's trippy, right?
Because you don't have to physically.
You don't have the limitation of the body, just like your mind is able to keep going.
Yeah.
They all sound plausible, right?
Yeah.
So could this be the time that like, and then the other thing he said too was like all the alien footage that's being, so the reason why this came out is the US, they passed this bill. I was really excited for it because I heard about this bill like years ago during like the beginning of COVID. So when COVID happened, they were passing the COVID bill. An alien, like a release thing about UFOs was in the bill. So they had to release all their footage, right? So now it's the deadline for releasing. So they're releasing hours and hours and hours of footage, right? Of these unidentified, right? And what he was saying is that he was talking to other people high up in the government agency, and the videos that they're releasing are actually like the crappy quality ones. They have high res footage. Because like everyone's like, oh, how come you don't have high res footage? They do have high res footage. They haven't released it yet. But people within the Pentagon or whatever, or whoever's studying this, they actually have like good quality footage of it. So what does this all mean? We're about to like find out aliens are around us at all times. That's trippy.
Yeah. I saw like a clip where you're saying like like how fast these things are moving, the G forces. You can't. Either it's a drone or like as you said, like someone's like the data of a consciousness.
But maybe it is a drone, but then they send their consciousness to
that's what I'm saying.
robot after.
Within it. Yeah.
Because he was saying like the G forces would kill us.
Yeah.
Like a physical body cannot move that. So that's why they think it is like some sort of
a drone
or robot.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? And then Joe Rogan brought up this thing, which I think we talked about before. He's like, what is there, like a Wakanda kind of civilization? He didn't say Wakanda, but like if there is another civilization that
hidden civilization,
that developed at the same time as us, maybe that's what these are. And that was kind of like, not really. But
it's difficult to hide.
Yeah, it'd be too difficult to hide that kind of thing. But it could also be like what he was saying is like these UFO things could also be technology that other countries are developing that we don't know that they're developing. Because apparently right now there's a hypersonic missile from Russia that they just announced, but it's like you might have been testing that. So it's like faster than the speed of sound.
Yeah.
So in your test, did people mistake that test as a alien? Could be that as well.
Could be. I think I feel like some of those videos could be that. Not saying all the videos are that.
For sure.
But some of these things could be that.
Yeah. Like he didn't fully say like, because the jury's still out. We haven't made contact with aliens, so we don't really know what these things are.
You can't say 100%.
But there is, so the thing that I found interesting is he was explaining how they could travel to us. and um and like how these things could also just be like tests. So it's like both theories are plausible. We just don't know what the exact thing is.
Right.
And then I was seeing on my feed, NASA is now they've joined the search for alien life as well.
Yeah.
You saw
I read
that? As well?
that.
Yeah.
They've
Because
created
it's like
a
a
task
big-
force for focusing on that.
Yeah. So they're going to actually help look at this. Oh, one other thing he said too is a lot of fighter pilots as well, when they see these UFOs, they actually turn off their video recording system because they don't want to be seen or ridiculed as like an alien conspiracy theorist. So like they'll actively shut off their recording devices because there's like a stigma. But then he was saying that there's a new push towards forcing people, like, if you do see these things, we have to record them now. Like, don't just turn off your device.
Right.
It's like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? Like, what is this big mystery that's right in front of our faces? That's what I'm curious about right now. Yeah. It would be interesting to see, like, that, like, Men in Black was real. And there's this whole, you know what I mean? Like, we are just this one thing that doesn't really know that the whole universe is actually really connected, and they're jumping. There's a whole, like a whole Silk Road kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
True.
But then he was also saying, like, because, you know, how come they haven't interacted with us? He said that, like, when you pass by an anthill colony, sometimes you're like, I don't need to, like, what am I going to gain from the ant? So we don't need to actually be a part of their, you know.
Well, as adults, we think like that. But when we were kids, we were always
Curious about it. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So maybe they need like a young and alien to come in to
be more to be like, hey, let's
I think we should interact.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, well, one other thing that was kind of freaky too, he's like, there's these two programs that are going on right now where one is about intercepting signals from like alien life. And then the other one is sending signals, like saying where we are located. And he was like, we shouldn't be doing that, because just look at Christopher Columbus. Like, he came and killed all the natives. That could actually happen to us.
It's true. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, both possibilities are there. You could meet a Columbus, or you could meet
like a benevolent savior god kind of thing.
No,
that's true. Yeah.
Because you don't
know.
Yeah, you're not sure what kind of alien or species you're interacting with. So it could be someone that's good, someone that's evil. We don't know. Yeah,
true. We'll never know until time comes. But it would be really crazy to find out that we are a part of this galactic empire.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Right? Dude, that'd be so sick. Yeah, that was just my other topic. I am going to watch the other alien documentary, because the fact that Michio Kaku's in the documentary, I'm like, okay, it gives like credibility to it now.
Right, yeah. I knew him for a long time. He's really
same,
good.
Yeah. But I'm surprised he's into aliens. But it makes sense though. He's like, as a scientist, why wouldn't I be interested in this? I was like,
of
that's
course.
true.
That's the whole point that we were all trying to do, is find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is life out there? That's the whole question.
Right. And like, science is all about uncovering mysteries.
Yeah.
But like, for a long time, we were like demonizing people who looked into aliens, but you know, yeah, that's cool. All right, so final thing, I saw Hassan Minaj, and I'm not going to get into like what he talked about, but I had this crazy revelation during it, and I had it when we were watching UFC, but it really hammered home during the Hassan Minaj thing. These are just people. It tripped me out so hard, because like, because like, it wasn't a fully sold out show. They let us go closer. So me, my sister, and your brother, we went as close as we could, and I could like see him. And then I was watching all these people like be enamored by him, you know? And I was like, he's just a person that we're all like, oh, tell me a story, you know? It's called, like, the show is called The King's Jester. But that is what he is. He's making us all laugh. And then you look at when we went to UFC, and I was like, oh, I never want to go to another UFC, because like, I can't even see. Why am I there? You know, but it's more like the Coliseum feel of like these two gladiators fighting, you know? And then I started thinking about like how Tara does these talks in schools. And I'm like, when we were kids, we used to look at teachers in schools and be like, wow, what are like, how did you get to this point? Or like, you have something to share, you know? And it's like, we're all just humans enamored by other humans. We're just like, wow, look at what you can do. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's no difference between you and I.
Yeah. No.
And if you think about things in that kind of term, it's like, I guess we did it too when we saw like, you know, Tom DeLonge in person at MTV, and then we went to like, was it Warped Tour together? We met those bands. It's like, I'm almost confused now as I see these like huge celebrities. I'm like, why do we like put them on a pedestal? We did it with Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, right? But I think from that point of view, it's like I'm more impressed by what you can do. I guess like that's what a lot of people too, right? They're, oh, he can sing really well, you know. But if you look at like Hassan Minaj, it's like, you're just an entertainer. Like, entertain me, you know what I mean? Like, it's like as a celebrity, your value is on how much you can make us care about you. You know what I mean? And if I don't care about you, you don't exist. But the difference between a celebrity like that and Steve Jobs and Elon Musk is like, irregardless of if you entertain me, if you create enough value, then you are worth something, you know? And that makes me think of like celebrityism and like, why do we care about these people that at the end of the day, they really provide no more value than like entertainers. I mean, no more value than the next person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very weird. I was at a family party yesterday, and I was like kind of trolling my two cousins because they were watching this like YouTube streamer that they're obsessed with. And I was like, guys, why are we watching this? This is killing my brain right now. Let's put on something else. So we put on Michio Kaku, Big Think, because I just saw him on Joe Rogan, and they got their eyes glazed over. They got so bored. And I'm like, no, this is who you should glorify. like people that are intelligent and doing things that are, you know, going to advance civilization or like something admirable. But along the way, we started to like develop celebrityism. And at the end of the day, celebrityism is just like, what is the story I can tell you? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like, I guess it's more about like the marketing aspect of it, you know, and marketing is just an illusion. As a marketer myself, like I could see that we're just like creating these illusions and people are buying into it. Whereas the real things that give you value, like, you know, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Michio Kaku, like intelligent people, they're not as praised. You know, because it's not like Dance for Me Monkey. It's like they're just doing things that are good. And we're so superficial that we want the monkey to dance for us. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's weird to me. Like seeing Hassan Minaj, like, why am I gotta watch this on Netflix?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
It's so trippy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hypocritical because we're gonna go watch Kevin Hart, you know. So, so that's all. You know, I'll go to that one. I'll be like, oh, I could have watched this on Netflix as well. But it's like, Dance for Me Monkey. You know what I mean? Like, really think about that one.
No,
like,
no,
you're
it is.
literally selling tickets.
Yep.
You're convincing me that you are so important that I'm going to spend $100 to come watch you live because I want you to dance for me. You know?
Yeah.
That's weird. Whereas, like, when we saw Graham Hancock, he was giving a lecture on ancient civilizations. So that was valuable. I'm learning something.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to pay the $100. I'm like, you're going to tell me something I would have never known about. You know? Where, as a society, we place like value in different zones, and that's confusing to me.
Because I think entertainment value.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, how much entertainment or joy is being added to your life, or how they are impacting you in those ways.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. it's like the hedonic aspect of it, like the
Yeah.
entertainment value versus the utilitarian, like what I can use in the future.
I mean, they're all part of it too, right? There's you if you want to learn something, you go to those specific people to learn something. If you need something to laugh at, you go to those types of people.
Yeah, I guess. I think I'm just confused because I was like, why are we here?
But they do. It does seem like they do have more of an impact on people's lives.
That's what I think. That's the
Yeah.
point. That's the thing that's troubling because it's like you sold out a whole arena.
Yeah. So it depends on the individual how they take things. Like you can enjoy both those things. Nothing
sure,
wrong with
yeah.
going and seeing Hassan Minhaj.
But
you can also be a person that likes watching or learning about other things.
But Graham Hancock isn't going to sell out the Staples Center.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he's providing a different type of value.
Yeah. But the amount, the people that you'll get depends on how much value that the individual sees them as. So
Yeah, and if we place more value in entertainers than we do educators, what does that say about society?
but we've been doing that. This is just humans, though, right?
Right. But seeing it now is like, oh, this is tripping me out.
Yeah.
Because like he had so many people. I'm like Hassan did, and I'm like, what about the people that are true change makers? You know?
Yeah. Well, that's why I like Steve Jobs. They change everyone's lives. Whoever bought the product, right?
Yeah. But I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it's just like weird to see how much value we place in entertainment.
Oh, is very high.
It's very high.
Yeah.
The industry is like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be viewed like you don't want your kids to be an entertainer because this is the view.
Oh,
Like
that-
you're just
it's like, well, like dance
you
for
just
me,
dance
monkey.
for me. Right? You're
Yeah.
just dancing for others. Like that's like
Yeah. Like the jester was the fool back in the day.
yeah.
Like it's like, haha, you're funny, but like you have no real merit.
Mm-hmm.
But then somewhere along the way, through marketing, the jester became the king,
Mm-hmm.
and that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just some things to think about.
Yeah.
All right, any final thoughts?
That's why I don't really try to look on that. I mean, they're all humans, but I try not to connect to them.
As deities?
Yeah, I just like the art that they're doing. That's it.
Totally. Because like I was listening to like Joe Rogan talk about it, like, or Aljamain Sterling was on Joe Rogan, and he was saying that people will ask for a photo and then they'll start shaking. They're like gonna cry, and it's like,
Yeah.
why is it moving you so much? Like that's almost like your deity.
Actually, in a way, it is. Yeah, because they've made when you're shaking in like that kind of level, I think that they've put you on such a pedestal.
Yes.
Or they've had a huge impact on their life. Like the entertainer has had a huge impact on the
Individual's life.
Individual's
But
life.
the craziest part about it is that entertainer is that individual created a bigger story in their head about the entertainer than the entertainer actually was.
Yeah.
And that's what's tripping me out.
It depends on the.
It's
Depends.
like you've fooled yourself.
Yeah, it depends on the individual. Maybe what they were saying or the types of whatever the entertainer is may have had a huge impact on how they've like on their life. Like if they're at a bad moment.
Like musicians are like, oh, you saved me from killing myself.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a huge.
But that's a one-way thing.
That's a one-way thing.
You did that to yourself.
Yes.
The musician did not do that.
No. Yeah, and that's a huge. I feel like for the entertainer, that's a lot of pressure to like you're coming at me with this thing, so I have to kind of.
Okay, wait. Here's my exact parallel. Okay, so you listen to a song and you're like, oh, you stopped me from killing myself. I love you, entertainer. So then the person who invented friggin' blood transfusions, are you going to shake and cry when you see the blood transfusion guy? He saved your life too.
No, only to the doctor, not the guy that created it.
Oh yeah, true.
system.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fair. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like there is an unequal division there. Because like you're in your mind, you created this idea that the musician gave you more value than he actually did. Whereas the blood transfusion person who actually literally saved your life, you're like, oh, thanks, doc.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm shaking, I'm crying. I didn't put you on a pedestal. Just thanks, doc. You did your job.
Yeah. But I understand that's how they.
But the only difference is the mind, though, in both cases.
No, I agree. Yeah. But the thing is, entertainers don't have freedom after they become such famous level. Like they don't even though they're liked like this, but they don't want this level.
But that's the problem. So it's like, what are we doing as a human species? Like, why are we placing so much emphasis on things that don't really matter? Like, you made a great song. Cool, bro. I'll find another great song next week.
Yeah.
But like, somebody who literally saved your life, if you don't feel the same way as you do for the musician that you do for the doctor, your perspective is skewed.
Yeah.
And that's what tripped me out. When I went to go see Henson, I was like, what? Like, the show was great, but it was just like, wow. Like, we have fooled ourselves into thinking that the things that we care about matter more than they actually do.
Well, I think we're living when you're in this kind of spot in a life, right? Like, we have access to everything.
It's like we're too soft. It's too easy.
Or abundance of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like if you go to Ukraine, they're not thinking about movie actors anymore.
That's what I mean.
Their focus is now their life.
That's what I mean. Yes. That's what I mean. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So it just depends on your situation. So right now we can do those sort of things.
Yes. But if there was a war that broke out here, and then some, like, let's say a renegade person came and saved us from like the militia forces and whatever, like, that's where you should place your value. Like, a thank you for doing that. And in those moments, we wouldn't care about celebrities.
Yeah. No.
Wow. So maybe that's the thing. Celebrities are just like a byproduct of our modernity.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all food for thought.
Oh.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on that, or?
No, I mean, it's been like that for a long time, right? So.
But in the time
putting them
kings,
on a pedestal
in modernity, but like in the kingdoms, remember the jester was like the fool.
Yeah.
Dance for me, monkey. But then the monkey became the king. Trippy. All right, till next time. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.